I want to ask one question to all three of you. Let's see what the answer is and how different they are. Let me start with you, Ritesh. How do you define a hit?
It can't be that if a movie does 100 crore, it has to be a hit. So I think like a movie like Vicky Donor for me is a hit because it's made in a correct price. Everyone who puts money into it, it was always made for a limited audience. They never even thought so. For them, doing a business of 50 crores is a big bonus. And not only that, we are forgetting it that is also done in overseas a big amount of business. So right now, these figures which you talk are only India. Box office. So I think if you call a film a hit, everybody attached to the film in terms of putting in money would have made money back. It's for me that's a hit film.
What's a blockbuster then?
A blockbuster, you make 3 times the money from the cost of the film, is what can be a blockbuster, I think.
Okay. What's your answer?
What's your answer, sir?
No, I'll go to him last.
I want to take it last. I want to take it last. What is your
answer? Is not how much money you have made based on the investment. I will differ with Ritesh here, because typically whatever is your investment, depending on your marketing promos, you can get the audiences, and in the first week you can achieve that kind of revenues where you can make more money in the first week itself. And with the more and more wider you go, as Amir said, you will start crossing 100, 200, 300, maybe reaching 500 crores also, but that is not the sign of success. My sign of success still remains those old silver jubilee, diamond jubilee or golden jubilee, but here the definition, instead of 25 weeks, whether it is 3 weeks, 4 weeks, so that kind of thing will actually define, and the measurement of that according to me is how much of the total it has collected in the first 2 weeks. If it is 50-60%, I know that okay, it is a hit. That means it actually collected more revenues in the subsequent week. That means people have liked it.
For me, a film which, some small films or a big film, no matter what the film is, whatever a film collects in its first weekend, if it collects exactly that much in the rest of its run, it's not a successful film.
Okay. It has to grow, you're saying.
If in the first weekend a film has collected 10 rupees and in the rest of the run it collects 10 rupees, it's not done well. It's an unsuccessful film in my opinion. If the film has done 10 rupees in the first weekend and does 20 more, so twice that amount,
sure,
it is okay. When a film does 3-4 times the amount of what it collects in the first weekend in its entire run, then it's a successful film.
Okay.
If it does 5 times, which is what 3 Idiots has done, then it is a smash hit.
It's a blockbuster.
When it does 5 times the amount of its first weekend, because then it tells you that the first weekend did 10 rupees, but the rest of the run was 5 times that. So it had length of run. You know, a lot of people loved the film.
Word of mouth
happened. So now a small film will have different gross numbers. Absolutely. A big film may have different gross numbers. But this is a fairly good yardstick.
But tell me, I mean, there is no industry benchmark. So each one decides what's a hit, what's a blockbuster, which is why there is so much of odd reporting that goes on, because nobody has any understanding and there's no real benchmark. Don't you think that is a serious issue?
Well, I'll tell you how it happens. I think the people in the trade know exactly what the business for film is. Now what happens is, in today's times of media, in today's times of promotions and marketing, you know, there are various ways and means in which you can publicize something which may not be true.
Sure.
Now when that happens, you know, you can put out fake figures, you can put out, you know, figures, and some people report them also. Now that is unfortunate, but that is how it happens sometimes. So films can be made to look successful when in fact they are not.
Are you telling me that all these ads we see on the second day of a film releasing, or on the third day, saying that we've already collected so many crores, we don't know if it's gross or it's net, but you know, there are these ads.
I don't know how many of them are accurate, number one.
Exactly.
I don't know how many of them are accurate. So obviously an ad is meant to give a good picture, not necessarily a real picture.
Like you're saying, there was a time when actually people used to write 150 crores or 200 crores. I've seen ads with 200 crores, whereas when now the advertising is only the theatrical, but they used to link in satellite price.
You can put in all kinds of things.
They used to put in.
You can put in gross. You can put
in whatever. So actually,
entertainment tax bhi dal diya usme.
Honestly, the studios and the producers, more than the actors, I would say, actually, have spoiled the audience by advertising figures. This is a new phenomenon.
Which brings me to my next question. What kind of evolution of taste do you think the Indian audience is going through? Do you think they are evolving? I mean, we can talk about filmmakers evolving, but why should filmmakers evolve if the Indian audience is not evolving? And if you look at the number of films that have done rather well, all essentially mass films, not to say that they are bad films at all, I mean, I'm nobody to say that. Basically, do you think macho is back in vogue?
What phenomena which I have seen is single screens were dying. So the majority of revenue used to come from the multiplex only, and you have a different kind of audiences for going to multiplex, different kind of audiences going to single screen. So pre-digitization means I would say that most of the films were being made for the multiplex audiences. But now the single screen and the even box office contribution used to be significantly higher coming out of the multiplex. So obviously the content was focused towards the multiplex audiences. But recently, if you see, there are a lot of mass appeal films are coming because single screen are significantly contributing back to the industry.
And you are able to reach them because of because of this digital cinema.
This thing. And that is where now we feel that there will be mass appeal like action and all that thing will start coming back into that.
Is India the lowest number of screens per 1,000 people? Is that actually true?
India is highly under-screened. We have only, I would say, 6-7 screens per million population, as against 117 in US, and we are the largest movie-going audiences. And there is actually a myth that multiplex per screen revenue means if you compare multiplex per screen revenue, if you are saying that okay per screen revenue in multiplex is significantly higher, but means there is a myth. Single screen revenue is higher than multiplex per screen revenue.
Is that so?
That is the fact of the matter.
I want to talk about, how important marketing of a film, promos, etc. are for, let's say, this 3-day window that has become very key to a film. So if you can throw some light on how important it is and how much of your total cost, total budget, do you allocate to marketing?
There is a ratio which, works, but I think it depends on a film. On some films you'll go into 15%, on some films it's even 40%. Depending, like you make a film of a 10 crore budget, you're spending almost 6 to 7 crores in its marketing. It depends on how wide you want to go, what the content is. The most important thing which converts tickets is ultimately the content. It's your promo which is going to, do all the marketing for it. Like I think almost 70 to 80% of a job of marketing is done by the promo of that film.
The promo of the film.
The promo of the film.
Okay.
Trailer. The trailer.
Yeah,
The trailer. So that's what is going to excite the audience and whether they want to come and watch it. So I think like an urgency to go and watch the film in the week of its release, or to bring into that 3-day weekend, to get in that large weekend and get in an audience. I think the promo drives it to the biggest thing. You may spend as much money as you want, but if your promo doesn't connect, you won't fill up those 3 days.
Okay, so essentially you're saying I can make a really bad film but really bring out a really good promo and I can still make some money.
Occasionally that happens. Occasionally that happens.
But I think primarily we've noticed it over these last few years since when we started going so aggressive with marketing, that at the end of the day it's the promo which does 80% of the job according to me.
I have one question for you, and just as a pure producer, because Amar is producer-actor. So do you think Indian actors are overpaid?
Do you think Indian actors are overpaid?
Yeah.
Some of them are.
Don't you think? I've been told, speaking to several industry people, that I believe that Indian actors are paid more than Hollywood actors.
Some of them are overpaid, and some of them also underpaid. So you have that as well.
No, you give very safe
But diplomatic आदमी है.
Yeah, but I feel that. Yeah.
No, it's a very safe.
No, but it is. Some of them are
stand.
underpaid. I mean it. I feel there are, besides actors, there are a lot of people. Like I think our writers are underpaid.
How have you come to the situation?
Thanks to your 100 crore club. Because of that. It's that 100 crore club which has made people start investing more, saying, okay, this person gives a 100 crore hit, let's go and sign him for this film, and then when that film releases, it does 20 crores.
Exactly.
So, yes, they are overpaid. If I've gone to an actor for a film, which I have, and it's happened to me twice, where the actor has agreed to do the film, I'm telling you that, he has agreed to do the film, but he has asked me for a price which I thought does not work for the budget, not anything to do with, I can't name the person. It does not work.
I asked this question to you about why actors are overpaid is because I believe that your budget is inflated.
Yeah, it goes up.
Because of actor costs being so high, which is why I asked the question. So, do you think today, because actor fees are so high and a producer who's investing in an actor says कि मैं इतना pay कर रहा हूँ, so let me milk everything, and so hence the film is less about the script and more about the actor centrally themed, and which is why our cinema is suffering.
As far as I'm concerned, I don't charge anything off a film. I tell my producer that you don't pay me anything. Let us make the film, and you spend the cost of the film of making it. And once the film is made, I take a share in the profits of the film. If the film is good and makes more money, I will also make more money. If the film is not good and it doesn't do well, I'll earn less. So I will earn as much as I deserve to.
What, in your opinion, do you see as the bottlenecks and challenges for Bollywood?
What are the challenges that we face? I think one of the biggest things that I feel that is that we don't do enough of research and development. We should be path breakers in different ways, in cinema, for the world. That we are not doing. The other thing I think, I strongly feel this, is that we really need to value our writers more. Because when we do that, only then there'll be a significant jump and change in the quality of writing in our films.
Maybe writers should also be given a writer's share, so you don't take any money.
Well, I try and make it a point that we do that. And we are doing that even in Talash.
Oh, so you have a writer's share, so you don't take any fee, depends on the success of the film.
Yes, that is correct.
Awesome.
That is correct.
I have a very interesting question to ask. If you compare Indian actors to Hollywood actors, so they're big in their land, y'all are big in your land. Do you think Indian actors can be bought for any money, because they will just do anything for money, simply because the example I'm giving you is endorsements. You see the number of actors are doing endorsements at a particular fee. Of course, that must be their asking rate, so it's fine. As long as you're getting it, it's fine. But they don't look at their personal brand value at all. So you will see the same actor, 5 times in a span of, let's say, an hour and a half, and you're watching The Tube. And this is actually unheard of in the West. It's a very Indian phenomena. People don't do underwear ads. People don't do, gutka ads. People just don't do it. I mean, they don't do ads per se. So, I mean, why is this such an obsession here? Are Indian actors not brand conscious, or is the Indian public so star crazy that it's fine?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm very concerned about the kind of work I do. So whether it's an ad, whether it's a film, whether it's a television show, whatever I'm doing, I'm very concerned about unless I'm happy about doing something, I don't do it. So I don't do a lot of ads. No. In fact, right now I'm not doing any ad.
Mr. Gaikwad, do you have a point of view?
See, means if you compare with Hollywood, according to me, overall Bollywood is going in Hollywood way, because of the talents and all that thing. Overall it is going in that manner. But you are right in terms of the kind of brand endorsement which they are doing. So they are not selective.
It can be anything. It can be brand endorsements, it can be TV shows, it can be public appearances.
Even the kind of movies they select.
Let me talk about Talash. We've always, expected path-breaking cinema from you. And if you can throw some light on how this film is different from the rest of your films, and the motivation for you to create this film.
I don't think I've ever done a suspense drama before, so this is quite different from the earlier films I've done. I don't know whether it can be called path-breaking. That we'll get to know when it releases, and I'm not very sure, and that's not why we made the film also. I'm just reacting emotionally to a story, and if it moves me, if it touches me, I want to be part of it. And similarly for Talash, when I heard the script, I just loved it. So it's not only a suspense drama, it's a layered film. So while it is a suspense drama, at its core, it's a film about coming to terms with loss. And that's a very emotional aspect of our lives. Each one of us has people close to him or her. And we are scared to lose those people, which is an extremely important aspect of our lives. I think Reema has done a wonderful job of translating onto screen what she and Zoya wrote together. So we're all really happy with the film and waiting to see how people react to it. It is an unusual film for mainstream.
How much was the cost of the film? Was it about 35-40 crores?
Yeah, in that range. This is without the PN.
So if you had to give me the overall, I mean, how much are you expecting?
I've not sat and thought about it. Like I'm saying right now, I mean,
Ritesh really lies with a straight face.
Seriously?
Have I thought about it? No, seriously.
Every night he takes a pen and paper and sits and calculates how much money he's going to make.
No. I don't think we'll lose money on the film. That's not possible. Like I've said, it's made in a very decent budget. So like I'm saying, like you're saying, it's between 35 to 40 crores. It's exactly that. And it's not that I'm lying that I don't have the budget. But what we are expecting out of it, I don't know. I don't want to go with that. I'm against these numbers. I'll never advertise a number. If this movie does 200 crores, I will not advertise it unless Amir wants to or Farhan wants to.
What is your release strategy?
We are going wide, but we are going what the demand is. So I think we are looking at about a 2,200, 2,300 screen.
I have one question for both of you regarding Mr. Sanjay Gaikwad. His UFO movies does digitization of screens.
Right.
You know, he handles 80% of Indian screens.
Right.
Isn't that putting everybody else in a rather dangerous position? Because today he's almost a monopoly.
Very dangerous.
If he acquires that one small player left, I mean, it's all over. He becomes the most powerful man. He decides to go on a maintenance break. That's it. There are no releases left.
What UFO has done is quite an amazing thing. The kind of work that they have done,
No doubt.
and the kind of input that they have put into digitizing cinemas and bringing films to, you know, and that will only help in increasing the number of screens. As far as monopolies are concerned, I think any sensible person would be little nervous about a situation where anyone is in a position of monopoly, whether even if it's me. So that is not ever a healthy situation, and even if it is a healthy situation, that healthy situation remains only for a short period of time. So we can only hope that Mr. Gaikwad, who is in an extremely powerful position, and we pray he gets more and more successful as time goes by, remains, you know, someone who is positive and has a positive approach to the business.
About monopoly situation, we are actually not a monopoly, there is a duopoly in the market, and we like to be in that competitive nature. Obviously, when you go to the monopolistic situation, there are regulations in this country, like competition commission and all that thing, which will not allow we going into that position anyway.
All the very best for Talash. I'm sure it will be a pathbreaker where, and we hope that, you know, the Indian cinema has one more iconic film to talk about.
Thank you.
Besides which club it gets into 100 crores or 200 crores.